trade plan for coming into the opening session, and it's I'm using a 1 hour chart with an RSI of 3 because it's just easier to, at a glance, with 7 currency pairs that you're scalping, to just get an idea which one has the best setup, and just, you can see it, you can pull the trigger, or if you miss that, the trigger pull, you can just put a pending order in. So I'll be running stops and buy stops and sell stops on this platform with limits too. So, but the stop entry would be, right now I have buy stops running on the Swiss franc right now coming into the session open. Of course, we could just fall out of bed. There could be a gap open after all the drama. So I'm just running buy stops here right now to get picked up, and they only last like 15 minutes, half hour, maybe 2 hours max. So I'm thinking 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours on the outside edge. I don't want to get past, well, it's going to depend on the session that we're in. I don't want to be dropping long-lasting orders. Say if I had buy stops running here, I'm going to get picked up in the breeze. You know, the ones that got in here, if they're still existing when the market's here, they're going to get a little bit of a chop. So the candidates for the limit orders are going to be, I'm going to be putting sell limits up here. This is 25 pips on each one of these. So I'll be placing orders up here, various exposure times. Maybe some of these only last, some last for 8 hours. Certainly the first ones I'm going to put in will be the 8-hour orders, which I'm going to put in here, like this is painfully obviously a bounce area. So I'll have some scalp clusters down here. And if we don't make it there, oh well. The next order bank, say, is a 4-hour bank that starts. Now here, I can get a better gauge than if I use a hotkey. So if you hand place all these orders, you gotta order here, you gotta order here, you got like a scalp, okay? And you just, we could fall out of bed, so wait till the market opens. Of course, you can't trade unless it's open, sadly, so you can't actually put these orders in right now, because I would probably almost put these in right now if I could without even seeing the opening of the market. I would think, right? I mean, it just has that look to it. And then, of course, this is scalping and swing trading really on a 1 hour chart. But, you know, this CAD is just on fire. So, and of course, the CAD, you need a 50 pip stop because it's a very volatile pair. And we're going through historical prices right now, so we could just smack open, gap open here, which if you're going to do this, if you consider this to be your flag and you're going to do, here's the flag pull is equal to the, you know, next price pulse, then we sell limits are sitting up here all night tonight for me, 8 hours up in the northern section, up in the hinterlands, because if we ever spike up there, I mean, you know, we want to scalp something off of it. I mean, for God's sakes, I just need to make some damn money. I'm so sick and tired of this. Oh, we're gonna, you know, and then finally it breaks out. So yeah, we break out of these things. We get a top, become a bottom, shipping, you know. Yeah, now this is gonna be the big thing. What in the hell are they gonna do with this British pound? I guess we are going up after all, but I don't know. But fair value entries have always been fair value entry and exit here. So looking to make, I'm setting my tightest stop at 8 pips. I'm gonna throw it, my widest stop is 20. I'll have a 8 stop and a 10 and a 15 and a 20. So I only have 4 stops available, and I've got to find a place to put the order. So I have to project out here and say, okay, well, obviously I have to put a scalp on every, when the market really heats up like this, I want more scalps, and because I can expect high probability of a little bit of a ricochet. And then depending on how much money is in the account, I would just determine how long do I want my 8-hour order to sit down there looking for that. Say I had to go out and get drunk or for some reason, and then, okay, I get filled there, and then they come back here, and my take profits, hopefully I put 10 orders in down here. 10K risk that's spattered, but, you know, you're counting the pips for the bounce. So if you're buying here, and you're going to have a 20 pip stop to make 40 pips, your exit's here, well before the speculated target. But you're just going to have a buy limit sitting here for the next 8 hours, because if it can do that, RSI is going to look great there too. We're almost getting a reversal here. This is definitely setting up for the first reversal. This is buy stop city here on this guy. The pound, I'm not convinced. I think they're going to still rape the bulls one more time. They're going to take them to the woodshed. That's all they do here is take them to the woodshed. It's kind of sad for all the trend bots. You know, they're just, I'm sure there's smoke coming out of the CPU. Like, yeah, you're long the pound, are you? Yeah, explain these moves. But yeah, maybe they'll get the party started one day there. But I'm just on the 1 hour because I don't have time for this drama. You know, this is obviously a sell up here tonight. I'll be selling up there. Buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. It's just how long do these orders last? And if you do the right trajectory there, you'll see you probably want that thing to be a 6 hour or a 3 hour. And that's the beauty of it. You just set it and forget it, walk away. You got a big iceberg down here that lasts so-and-so. You get a trendline breakout on RSI. Possible trendline breakout on RSI. Possible trendline break out of this over irrational exuberance. Of course, I think they do have to come up here and rape and then pillage, come back. Possible rape and pillage. Another ATM smash and grab could be just around the corner. And when the news comes out of these things, it's hilarious because you can have these buy limits sitting here and just be like, whatever. And that's the 1 hour chart. I mean, these smash and grabs are just hysterical, but I do think this has got pressure building up, and you know, I wouldn't get in too heavy, but this looks to me like a defensive entry. You definitely got a triangle, but we could just it could just be not more of this. Always have more of this kind of possible nonsense. This just, you know, if this ever turns around, I'm thinking that just in sheer percentage retrace, but there's more punishment to come here. If you go to the weekly, it's pretty frightening. There's no support really till you get down to about here, so expect the worst here, but I would certainly be scalping on the slight breaths it takes along the way. I mean, to me, that's a low-risk scheme, is to get in. So if you stretch that out and you're just looking for the very tippy top here, certainly for a 1 hour order to sell up here. And then, of course, the 1 hour orders, you're going to want to pepper those in. Start, like when the market opens, put a 1 hour up here and maybe a 2 hour. If you're afraid to leave an order out there too long, it is kind of funny because people will put pending orders in. And, of course, the fear there is that what if somebody fills the damn thing? And of course, getting it at the market, you alleviate yourself from that fear is totally gone. It's not even on the you can't even boot that up. So you know, you're like, hey, you're stuck with the okay, well, I'm just going to let them come to me, and usually those are the better trades only because you haven't lost any capital. It hasn't met your criteria. If you just get in at the market, you're kind of at the mercy of whatever's going on at that moment. And you don't have the perspective to sit back and cherry pick the chart. You know, I heard a guy say that, cherry pick it. Yeah, you got to pick the best setup out of, and with the dollar and the yen crashing equally, you have a real advantage here of saying, well, I would certainly buy this down here deep. This is actually holding, so maybe a buy stop here and a buy limit here. At least you can get a gauge of like who's leading the game, and that dollar CAD is just on fire along with this euro. So obviously these two, you've got to see what happens on the open here, because but you know, maybe the Australian plunges through the floor. These guys, any pattern is dangerous. I mean, like if it's going up, the fear is that oh my God, well, maybe I should sell because it's going up. And then, of course, when it's quiet, the fear is what happens if this triangle breaks out and it just goes nuts. And of course, if it spends too much time in a triangle, then there's that fear, right? That becomes a problem. So you just zoom out one level, you can see that we've been really treading water on this pound. So anything could happen. So at this point on this view here, you're putting in buy limits here that maybe last like I don't know, 12 hours down here or something. But you really think it's coming back? I mean, this is the thing is, do you really think it's coming back there? And I guess that's kind of a subjective question. But when you zoom out one more level here and you just take a look at that and you say, okay, well, I would definitely look for the RSI to get cheaper on that. And this thing here could just, these could both plunge. But New Zealand, you know, I would say here. So I'm just going to pepper some orders in on the open. But definitely sell this and buy these two. I mean, isn't it painfully obvious to anybody with half a brain that it is a buy low, sell high game? And, you know, the fact that this is bearish, should we worry about that? Or should you just start stacking in some buy stops in case this puppy backs up? Like, you're just trading just the most simple view of reality. You don't embellish it with any kind of, you know, because just because you have a button doesn't mean you should use it. Just because you have a light in your car doesn't mean you, even if you don't smoke, you don't keep pressing that button because this is there. I mean, the idea that you keep pressing a button just because it's connected to something. So a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, you have to hand place the orders, you know. And I'd say, okay for a buy stop that's going to die out, and it's okay for a limit, but not so much on a limit because there is no limit to these markets. And so that being said, you know, if you're going to do some kind of just the most basic analysis, you'd have to say, okay, here's your trend line, right? Now copy that over and make a channel out of it. And you'll notice that these markets will take this channel out and keep collapsing. That can happen. So I'm always thinking, well, we could drop another 150 pips on both these currencies out of the gate tonight. I would buy down there for sure. If it could make it there in 2 hours, so I would be very confident laying 2 hours. I'm basically saying, can you meet me there in 2 hours? Well, maybe in even 1 hour. Like, these things don't last long. Like, look how much time we spent below on here. Now, your buy limits would have been here. You have a buy limit to retest this, and it lasts, so you keep replacing it here all the time. It's 25 pips deep. It's got a 25 pip stop. You didn't get stopped out. It's looking to make 50 pips. So it does that, and then it makes more. It makes 100, or no, I'm sorry, this, yeah, 25. So you make 75, you make 100 pips. And there you're out, right? So some of those orders were placed in here, though, but you had a bunch in, right? So you're risking maybe 10 bucks to make, I don't know, 40 bucks. Risking 5 bucks to make 20 bucks. You name it, right? Same thing's going to happen here. I mean, who's not buying down here for a bounce? If this happens right out of the gate and we just plunge here, you know, well, you could say, but yeah, but look at it. It plunges, it doesn't always come. Right, but if your order evaporated, like if your order only lasts, say, 1 hour, you never got filled. Like you're coming in front and you got the buy stops trailing on top. So as we come crushing down in, and in Forex, it's not unheard of for the market to totally give back everything. Like, as this is coming up, this thing could just be like, yeah, whatever. And just, you know, and then they'll say, oh, it's ranging. Yeah, no, okay. There's the first leg of that tour. And then dollar CAD, that happens like all week long on this 1 hour chart. Like, this is just nothing but resistance becomes support, becomes resistant. Everybody's trapped in this consolidation, just pretty much the like they just set up shop here, you know. They just created a store right there in the middle of nowhere. This is, it's just absolutely insane. We could still come down. Insane. This, but I do like New Zealand long term, and then this is going to be, we're in flag territory. And this is the most dismal rally I've ever seen in a currency that ever, this is just irrational exuberance. So That's my story. Stick it to it.